Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Tennis Podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Hello, people out there. Join hands, form a love train all over the world.
Guys.
Join hands. It was my birthday 2 days ago.
I wasn't sure if you were going to tell them, and I was going to tell them, so I told them also. But yeah, it was Sweetie's birthday in quarantine, so, depressing, or it could have been. But Sweetie has a couple of sweeties in her life who made it special, like me. And Sweetie with a little Jim. Big Jim, really. Sweetie's fiance. So it was okay, right? It was an okay day.
Yeah.
Your favorite.
Yeah. I am we explained this, to Jimmy in the last couple of years I've known him. We're big birthday people. Our dad was a huge birthday person. He loved birthdays and loved to celebrate them. And we've continued that trend since he's passed away and just with ourselves. And I just think birthdays are so fun. I've never felt really that it was like, oh no, I'm getting older. It was like, let's party. That's what I feel like about every one of my birthdays. So I always try to just plan something really, really fun. And so like last year we went on like a pilgrimage to Teddy Roosevelt's summer house and grave. That was amazing. Like I've done a lot of trips. I've done a couple pub crawls. One time I hosted like a whole dinner for like 25 of my friends. I like mailed this food. Or sometimes like when we just went out to dinner, we like just dressed up and like went out to a fancy dinner.
Yeah, that's
so
always
I
fun.
always like to do like big things. So this year, obviously a little different because like we couldn't do anything, but I think I made the best of it. As Sweetie said, I ate a lot of like all my favorite foods. It was basically all around foods and beverages. And we got takeout from like this really nice French restaurant. I got dressed up. I drank a ton. I was kind of drunk, and that's all like that you could ask for. I won in a game of darts. That is all the birthday like I would need. And Sweetie stopped by for a quarantine celebration through the window, and then we kind of hung out in lawn chairs. And she gave me some amazing presents, including nightshirts. If you remember the No Mobile episode when I was saying how I'm gonna get into nightshirts, she's helping me along that, and she got me 2, and I've been wearing one all week, and it is so soft and awesome. So thank you, Sweetie.
I said I'd put it on my list. You said
I know.
So I did.
Amazing. She got me a Bloody Mary bag. So Bloody Mary mix, vodka, all the fixings, including sausage, which if you guys don't put sausage in your Bloody Marys, you should. Like a sausage stick, like a stir stick.
Not like a breakfast sausage. Although that would probably be like okay too, but it would probably just get like soggy.
Oh yeah. She got me a bunch of masks, like face masks, a cool like candle melty thing, those things where you like it's like a light bulb that like melts like a little wax thing. Pretty cool, safe for the kiddies. So like amazing gifts. And I got some great stuff from Jimmy too, and my mom, and like all my friends. It was just fabulous. So
Good day.
I know. So every year since we've done the podcast, I always get to do some birthday movie or movies. Last couple of years I've done 2, or that one year I did 2. I know.
I haven't gotten as many birthday movies, but
so
that's fine.
This one we're a little bit behind because I think we've been able to do it like before my birthday. We did it, or maybe even on the day. I think we did one. I think Mary Poppins was on the day, wasn't it? That was like an epic day.
Yeah.
And so we're a little bit behind on this one, but I was like, I'm still going to do a birthday movie. And I decided to do this one that I'm hoping it's going to be like when we did Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, the one about the girl who, does horse jumping into this giant water tank and goes blind, remember? And we did that one and people were like, oh my God, like I love that movie when I was little, like horse girl for life. And so we had this great dialogue about it. So I'm hoping this movie is that, but I'm pretty sure it is not going to be the case because this seems like a very weird film that like no one has seen, but we're doing it anyway. It is called If the Shoe Fits.
Excuse me.
Which also is a amazing shoe store that both myself and Carol worked in Cape Cod. Family friend owns it. If you're ever down there, it's in Chatham. If the Shoe Fits, check it out. Amazing shoes and bags and clothes and stuff. But yeah, so If the Shoe Fits, this was a TV movie that is from 1990. I'm pretty sure they played it on the Disney Channel. It was a Disney.
We're sure it's a TV movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. And
sense.
I remember like seeing it and being so captivated by it. Now, I'm not sure if that's because there's like it takes place in Paris. There's kind of like a designer fashion vibe, and looking at it, however, 30 years later. Is that correct? Yeah. 30 years later, like the fashion is horrible in this, but for a little girl, you're like, ooh, like look at those cool clothes. And it starred Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing. So, and it has like a Cinderella, it's a take on the Cinderella story. So all that put together, and like me as an 8-year-old or whatever was like, oh my God, I love this movie. And it's like a very much like glow up kind of feeling to it. There's like a makeover aspect to it. So all those things come together to like make this what I thought was like this amazing TV movie that I always watch. I feel like I like searched the TV guide for it. That's how obsessed I was. I'd be like, oh my God, if the shoe fits, it's gonna be on. Stop the
TV
presses.
guide. Remember, like not even the TV guide, but just like looking in the newspaper. Like the newspaper would have the TV listings, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, what's on?" Oh yeah, and it would have like stars for the movies. You'd have like the stars like crammed in there in the little
and like a one sentence like description of it.
Yeah. Man, those were the days.
That must be a tough job if you have to boil down a movie to like one sentence. So that's like my like memory of this movie and how much I loved it. Sweetie, what do you remember, if anything, about this movie?
Okay, so
I'm sure we did not watch it in 1990. It was probably a little later.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not that much.
Not much
yeah,
later.
I don't. But yeah, I remember that it was like it seemed to always be on TV. But if you're saying you sabotage the system and we're actively looking for it, then that might skew the data.
Right.
But I remember the characters in this. There's like pretty distinctive characters, and like I remember, like I didn't remember their face specifically until I saw them again, and then I was like, oh my God, yes! And I had like all these memories come back with them. And then the other thing I remember is that you and I don't know if you remember this, but like every time we would go to like Macy's shoe department or like Filene's shoe department, we would look for the shoe. And the shoe was like the shoe from this. So we were looking for like a completely sequined like pump. Probably not a slingback. I doubt we were finding slingbacks, but and we'd always be like, Emily, I'd be like, Emily, it's the shoe. It's the shoe from If the Shoe Fits, or like whatever. And like that was our mission.
Okay.
So those are my memories.
That. Yeah.
And
that's
I remember the name Prudence. Like as soon as she said that was her name, I was like, of course.
But I forgot
Prudence.
like that's how she gets it. Is because like she wasn't like my name is Prudence, like the way she gets it is because like
I got confused. Yeah.
And so it's like not a great movie, and clearly it's a TV film. I'm not sure how they got both Jennifer Grey and Rob Lowe to do this movie. There's no other famous people in this movie. And you got to think like, were they coming off of their careers? Now I will say this is Jennifer Grey in between her nose jobs. So she had like the one and it was botched, and then she corrected it, and then that's the one that made her look like a completely different person. So I think this is the first one because her nose looks a little bit different than Dirty Dancing, Baby in Dirty Dancing, I will say.
Only when she's Prudence though. Like it looks totally normal when she's herself.
Because she had like a real beak, if you remember. Like, it was a very beak nose. And in this one, it definitely seems
beaky.
a little tones down. Like, it just seems toned down a little.
Beaky.
Yeah.
Beaky when she's Prudence, though.
Yeah.
Like, I only notice it when she's Prudence.
Right. Well, maybe because she had the glasses and stuff. But then Rob Lowe obviously had like a ton of stuff going on in the 80s, but early 90s, he had tapered off, I think, a little bit. And like Wayne's World was only a couple years after this. Like Wayne's World was 92. So, but he was doing like pretty like minor things, I think. So I wonder if this was just sort of like last gasp, like, you know, need to do something to stay relevant kind of a thing. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure really about anything about this movie, but it's pretty bad, but at the same time, it's like clever in its own way. Like it's not really funny. And like, obviously the fashion is so dated, but there's like, I Googled Cinderella like remakes. I was like, oh, there must be so many takes on like this Cinderella story. And they're really
when we did Cinderella.
Yeah, but there's more like straightforward remakes of like the actual story. This isn't like actually Cinderella. You know, it's like a completely different
Right. I mean,
thing.
it's
like there's a shoe and everything like that.
They put it in modern
but,
times and like kind of like, you know, made it apply to that. But but same themes.
Yeah, but same themes and all that stuff. But yeah, it was funny. I made Jimmy watched it with me, and he was a good sport, but he was like, not a movie for the fellas. Which I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird movie. It's a weird little movie.
Really weird. It's really weird. And it's again, it takes place in Paris because it has like this fashion side to it.
Well,
and
Paris.
And feels very European. I mean, everyone is either French in it, or I think they are French. But everyone speaks English, so that's like a weird thing.
But it was like a weird. I kept being like, "Is that person French or Italian?" Like I can't really tell because they don't have a great accent. But they were like real French act. Like her friend and the assistant lady were like are real French actors, I guess. Yeah.
But then like
still doing stuff today.
Rob Lowe is like Francesco Salvatore, and he's like from Malibu.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm like, so he's not gay and he's not Italian, but he's wearing a vest without a shirt underneath it. Okay, whatever.
Oh my God. He was like so perfect at this. He was actually pretty good.
It was awkward. I just felt, it just seemed like very awkward to me, and I kept being like, are we not supposed to think he's gay? Like he's hits on a guy like in the beginning. He's like, you looked marvelous out there, and like tweaks his vest, and I'm like, okay, he's totally gay. And then like that woman like takes her clothes off in the beginning, and he's like, I just don't want a long-term relationship. Right. But he's like not turned on at all. He's clearly gay. And I think that maybe, and I'm sorry to jump ahead, but this could have been saved a little bit if there like wasn't a stupid love story, and it was more about like him recognizing her talent,
right,
and like nothing to do with the love.
Right. And we'll go into this after the synopsis, but that honestly, I forgot what the ending was and was like, oh, sweet. Like she's going to get a cool career out of this. Like instead of a lame boyfriend, because that guy had like zero personality. I mean, and they didn't do it. And they didn't do a good job of like finding like a truer side to him. Like, no, he was like continued to be bad. So anyway, but we'll get into it. So hope somebody has seen this movie other than us. It is available to stream rental wise on Vudu if you want to check it out. We encourage you to. You know, there's a lot of time now to be watching weird movies that you haven't seen.
Yeah, no better time.
And we encourage you to, you know, rent it, listen to this podcast, and enjoy. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah,
sweeties,
with wings on your feet, dreams can come true.
See, you sing it. You're like,
she sings it. The fairy godmother does.
No, she says it. She's like, with wings on your feet, your dreams can come true. It's different. It's different.
Okay, must have been the commercial or the trailer or something that they did that, because I swear to God there was singing. Unless I pulled a sweetie and just like made my own movie in my head. Which I probably did.
It sounds a little bit like you're envisioning that like Whitney Houston sang that in the Brandy version.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
We should have done that.
Just my opinion. Not streaming on Disney Plus. Real disappointment. Might be on YouTube. Gotta check. hopefully we can do that. So Kelly Carter is a fashion designer, specifically a shoe designer.
Time out.
Yeah.
Worst name and
Oh,
most
I know.
American name
Well, I mean,
ever.
that's why they picked it. They're like, what's the most boring name? Yeah. Even though I think Prudence is pretty boring.
She
whatever.
signs her like name when they're like co-designing stuff, and he's like Baba Salvatore, and she's like Kelly
Carter. And it's like 14-year-old girl handwriting.
Yeah. It's like 90210, like Kelly from 90210. She's like, hey,
it's not my favorite.
Sorry. Kelly Carter.
Kelly Carter, fashion designer, shoe designer, but she's like not well known because she dresses like that character actor, that old guy who's like bald and wears those like scround glasses and is like in a lot of Wes Anderson films. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
He's
I
in
think so.
an episode of Girls. He's like the psychiatrist.
Yep.
She dresses like him and wears like that like old man like fishing hat kind of thing and those round spectacles.
She has glasses,
so she's not
which
a looker.
makes you ugly all the time.
Right.
Khaki pants, keds, a white button down.
But she's living and working in Paris as a freelance dresser in fashion shows.
Dressers for fashion show, yeah.
I thought like she was always worked for him, but I guess that was just like, so her and her friend were both like kind of just like people.
Yep.
Okay. So she's the dresser for this fashion show. So dressers are the people that like tear off models' clothes after they exit the runway and like change them into a new one or whatever. So she's doing this fashion show for Salvatore, Francesco Salvatore. Sorry, Salvatore.
Yeah.
And it's spelled like really dumb. Like that's not even how you spell Salvatore. It's just like with an I instead of an A.
It's
like
bad.
Salvatore.
Yeah.
Really stupid. Like I said, cheesy as fuck guy, wears vests with no shirts underneath, like pom-poms on his vest, and is just like, hello, I'm a fashion designer. It's just like la da da. And the clothes are bad. They're just like all 80s prom dresses.
Yeah. It's very like, I mean, this is late 80s, early 90s, right? So it's like that felt to me like it was, you know, the 80s had like zaniness to fashion, but once you got to the 90s, it like only took like the tacky aspect of 80s fashion, and that's what carried over into the 90s. So you just got like a lot of sequins, a lot of ruffles, a lot of big sleeves, just like tons of big, really unattractive jewelry, like weird hats, like nothing. It was just like, it was like going to Chico's. You know that store in the mall, Chico's? It's like basically Chico's. It's like 90s fashion galore. And it's like basically like,
do you mean cachet?
No,
That's
I
where
love
I got
cachet.
my prom dress.
That's where I got my prom dress. No,
oh my God.
Chico's,
No, you
guys.
didn't.
Chico's. Chico's is like an older women's store. Sorry.
Is it? They have chinos. Is that why they're called Chicos?
No, it's called Chico's.
They have chinos. I mean, I think Kathy Conti shops there sometimes. Like, I think it's fine. I think it's a fine store. I could be wrong about that. I'm sorry, Kathy, if that's not true.
She doesn't listen.
Oh, wait. I was thinking of Talbot's. I'm sorry. It's wrong.
No,
it's
Talbot's
wrong. I was
is beautiful. Talbot's is beautiful. So he has a big ego though, and he thinks he's really good. So he has this fashion show, and turns out gets totally blasted by the critics. This horrible fashion show.
Good. It sucks.
And it sucked anyway, and like everyone knew it except him. But he has no people. Everyone is just up his butt all the time. He's like, "You're the greatest," and all the models think he's the greatest and everything. And this is in Paris, as we said, so it's like a fashion-y place. So you have this Kelly Carter working for him, but she's an aspiring shoe designer, guys. She wants to design shoes. Mm-hmm. She lives in an apartment with two roommates. Are they supposed to be models or what? Hope not.
I think they're like wannabe. They think they can be fashion models.
Because one of
so
those
they're
girls,
trying to be.
God bless her,
So
was
ugly.
literally the most unattractive person I've ever seen in my whole life. I don't know if they made her look more ugly than she actually was, but whoa.
No, she definitely had some like facial structure things happening
Yeah.
that might support that. But she's also, I mean, she's one of those people that they like cast specifically for those roles. And I think we've talked about this before, like how fucking depressing that must have been.
Well,
Be like, oh, I'm the token ugly person.
pays the bills. You must
Oh
either
my
have
God.
to have like the best self-esteem ever or the worst. I'm not
Right?
sure.
Like I need a character study on those people. Holy shit. But yeah, so she lives with those two roommates who are like so weird and like both like each other but hate each other and like laugh like
Well, they're,
like maniacs at one another. But it's
And
like really
they're French.
weird and awkward. And then Prudence, I'm sorry, Prudence. Kelly lives with them, but she like lives like in the living room. Like it's like she has like a little studio and a bed. It's like a prison. It seems like a prison cell. Like that's how big it is, this little area for her to live in. So they're really mean to her, and it's obviously a take on the stepsisters situation. So I guess Kelly has an appointment to meet with Salvatore, to like pitch him her shoe ideas or like her ideas for like what he could do for like his design or like a collaboration or something.
Yep.
So she's like waiting, and then unfortunately this is the day that like he gets the bad review and like freaks out.
Well,
He, like,
she's late though, remember. Why is she late?
Oh yeah, that's the day. So she's late because like series of unfortunate events, and then she's like waiting at the corner, and she sees this like baddie woman with a map, and she's like, oh no, and is like trying to avoid eye contact, but yet at the same time looks directly at her for like 5 minutes, and is like, oh no, and I'm like, well, stop looking at her if you don't want her to talk.
And
to you.
before this, you see the baddie woman asking everyone in Paris like help with directions in this map, and no one will help her. So no one will
help.
stop.
No
I
one
mean,
help.
she looks like a nutball.
She's wearing Statue of Liberty glasses, sunglasses. She's carrying like an old suitcase. Her hair's like red and like,
like,
wild.
tacky pins
She's
on.
kind of, I mean, she's like kind of amazing and like
Yeah, I love her.
total Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
And like, I thought she was great. So, I guess the problem here, Kelly is like too nice. Let's call her a sweetie with an IE. And she like is like, oh no, someone needs help. I'm not going to be able not to help this person. I'm too nice to say no.
I turned to Jimmy and I'm like, that's exactly what I would do.
Just be like, oh no,
no. What do you need? Can I help you? Oh, sure. Here's $20.
She tries to give this lady directions, and the lady's like not paying attention at all and like looking at her instead of the map and like showing her, and she's like, okay, thank you. So then she like goes off in the wrong way, and so Kelly again is like, oh god, you're going the wrong way. So then she's like holding these like fancy shoes she's made. She's so proud of them, and she's going to show them to Salvatore basically as like her pitch of her like design skills. And she's trying to cross the road, but then she sees the baddie woman like walk into traffic, basically, like still like staring at the map. And she's like, oh no! And then like throws her shoebox and like portfolio just like down. I mean, like, God bless her. She was just in the moment, needed to save her life. So I get it. But I mean, you could place it a little. She's just like, pow, and like, like throws them. But she saves the woman's life. And then the woman's like, how could I ever repay you? Like, blah, blah, blah. And before this, we saw her do some like magical things, like make a boy's balloon float back down to earth, make a bird diarrhea on some guy's head, which like
in
FYI,
his mouth. It went in
bird
his
poop
mouth.
is not like liquidy brown, light brown. Please, have they ever
that
seen a bird
was,
shit?
Was very sick.
It's disgusting.
But it went in his mouth. Did you notice that?
I know. I'm just saying it was like obviously like colored water because that prop person has never seen bird poop in their life, apparently. It would be so easy to make bird poop. You just like a white substance. Like what? It could be
brown.
Here you go. Sunscreen. Easy. I did it. I solved it. I solved the problem. So we know like something magical is like happening or whatever, a brewing. So that's why she's late to the interview. So then she has to wait with all these like weird people in the waiting room. And meanwhile, Salvatore's like freaking out and like firing people. He like fires his like model muse. is like, I need a new inspiration. And then is like trying out models and like doesn't find anyone, whatever. So basically her thing is gone because she was late. And so, but then this happened. So she's not going to get to talk to him. So after that, she just goes home defeated, right? And it's just like, oh, like, wow, sad. And then she sees the old lady, the baddie lady on the way home or the next day. I think it's the next day.
Or right after, isn't she like so depressed and she comes over and is like, trying to cheer her up.
Shoes, yeah. And so the baddie lady comes over again and is like, oh my God, it's you. And Kelly's really nice about it. And she's like, oh, like it's like she's one of those people who was like okay with talking to strangers. But she's like, oh, she sees her portfolio and was like, what do you do? Do you draw? Are you a painter? And she's like, no, And she's like, what do you draw? And she's like, shoes. So she's not like, if I was this baddie woman, I would be like, oh, you just draw like pictures of shoes all day. Why wouldn't you be like, I'm a fashion designer. Yeah, I'm a shoe designer.
I design shoes. I don't like draw them,
right.
But I guess that's
I'm not
like
a shoe drawer.
What the designs are.
Isn't a thing. But the lady's like so excited about it. And it's like, oh my God, did you make these shoes? And she like pulls the shoes out. And Kelly's like, careful, they're broken. And the lady's like, I don't think these don't look broken to me. And it's like sparkly music. And it's like, pew, pew, pew. And Kelly's like, weird. Like, I swear they were broken. So then the lady like tries them on and they fit her foot, even though Kelly compares the shoe that she was wearing to the nice shoe. And they're like, it's significantly smaller, the nice shoe. So she's like, this is weird. And then she, parts ways and is like, I wish there was some way I could repay you. And then the sparkly music kind of like happens again. So you're like, okay, something happened here, right? What could it be? What could it possibly be? So next, Desperado over there.
Yeah, so Kelly is still trying to like get Salvatore's attention because he didn't have that meeting with her, but her friend like convinces her to like go and just try to talk with him or something. I don't know. That falls flat, so she's like depressed. Meanwhile, this the baddie lady, who is the fairy godmother essentially, gets lost, quote unquote, and finds her way to Salvatore's house and is like able to get herself into the house by doing the whole I'm lost routine, like, oh, my map's upside down, I'm so stupid. Anyway, and is like, oh, you should throw a party here. Like, it's such a nice house. Like, sometimes, like, to look at, because he's really trying to find a new muse. And this kind of gives him the idea to have this party, so a ball, let's say, and find his new muse at this ball. So all these invitations get out.
I'm going to invite all the models in Paris or all the women in Paris?
No, all the models, I guess. That's why I'm like, we're the roommates models? Because they got invitations.
But so they were like, did you get one? Did you get one, Kelly? But of course you didn't. Why would she
Kelly
get one?
Doesn't get one, but then how did she get to go? She does have an invitation.
Her friend was like, let's crash it.
Oh, but she does have an invitation, though. Kelly does. When she takes it with her when she leaves.
When she's Prudence, I think.
No,
Maybe
no.
it just like appears.
No, I don't know whose it was. It didn't have her name on it. Maybe her roommate left it by accident or something. I don't know. Anyway, so before this, the the friend, Veronique, who is really cool. And I remember loving her. Cool. And I just wanted to be her. She reminds me of the girl, that actress who is in like Rain Man and Hot Shots and Pee-wee's Big Top, that like Italian actress.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was going to say, she reminds me of... in the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, the Locker 22 one, with the hippie,
yeah,
the girl who's like in there. But I looked it up and I don't think it's her, but I'm pretty sure it's her. But I guess it's not. But she's
just a really cool French woman who just is like has a motorcycle, has the coolest clothes. She's like everything. She could be in a paper bag and she like looks amazing. Mm-hmm. So she's a lot of confidence and she's trying to teach Kelly like about confidence and that she like needs to dress better. And she is, the friend is a little bit like toxic in the sense that she very much buys into like it's how you look is going to get you the things that you want, but they are in like the fashion world, let's say. So that's kind of why that she and she's in Paris, and that's very much like a Paris thing, right? Beauty and stuff, or a French thing. So like they do this little makeover thing and they go to this bar and Kelly just doesn't have the confidence. She just like doesn't have it. So she tells her we should crash this ball that Salvatore's having, and they're just going to sneak in. So she's like, here's a dress I stole from you from the fashion show. This like pretty cute, kind of gross on the bottom, but strapless, very 80s looking party dress, like an 80s prom dress essentially. And she's like, wear this and like meet me at the party. So she takes her time getting dressed, and she's like, oh, like, well, my shoes are fixed now. They go good with this dress. I'm going to wear my shoes that I designed. So these sparkly slingbacks. Again, they're very 90s, so they're butt ugly. But they are very sparkly.
But I remember being, like, enthralled by them.
Oh, yeah. But now, though, like, we've talked about this. Like, the closed-toed slingback, like, ooh, like a mule. Ugh. Yeah. So anyway, so she gets all dressed and she's like up, like, and is just so defeatist, like looking at yourself in the mirror, like work in progress, like, oh, this is the best it's gonna be. Like, who like says that when you're getting dressed? So crazy. But then she puts on the shoes though, and the lights blink. And something magical must have happened, but you don't know because you don't see her. You only see her feet, right?
You see like a strange mist or something. Yeah. I feel like they make it like misty. Yeah. Yeah, you don't know. And you're just like, okay. But she's off to the party basically. And so
but
far
her attitude has changed though, I feel like. She has a different sort of attitude even
she has like a different,
when you don't
like,
see her.
Strut about her.
Yeah.
Her hair's like slicked back. You're like, whoa, what's happening? It's a lot of gel. And
that was basically the makeover.
So much gel. There is no way she could switch back and forth like
no way.
No that much gel in the hair. So she gets to the ball or the party, and people are like, "Oh, who's that?" I mean, like right before this, Salvatore was like, "I give up. No one here is worthy." And then she walks in, and it's like, ah, and like he's like, "Who is that?" And then she goes up to her friend and is like, "Hey, I can't believe we got in." Like blah 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 blah. And her friend's like, sorry, what? Who are you? And at first, I was like, okay, she's going to get it after, like, the first, like, oh, like, it's just going to be a double take.
Yeah.
No. It's, like, literally, I thought it was a sci-fi movie all of a sudden, and that the shoes also made people wipe their memory of Kelly.
Like, didn't remember her. I mean, I think they could have done a better job of like the makeover or something if that was really the case and no one recognized her, because the change is not that much.
She looks exactly the same. She just slicks back hair and blue eyes.
Right. Okay. Purple eyeshadow and star earrings. I mean, what's the difference?
So the blue eyes thing is like probably the most upsetting thing to me, maybe in my life. The fact that they were like,
she does not have blue eyes. Yeah.
She's brown eyes.
Brown eyes, yeah. They gave her contacts, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like when she changes into Prudence, the beautiful Prudence everyone loves, she has these like big blue eyes all of a sudden. Right. And I'm like, okay, that is bullshit. That is some Aryan bullshit. And but whatever. So now her friend's like, oh my God, you don't look like you. Like, I can't believe this. Like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. Like, blah, blah, blah. So then she dances with Salvatore, and he's like obsessed with her. She's his new muse. But then she leaves because what's like the thing that makes her leave?
So he's like, okay, you're going to be my new muse. And he's like, you need to sleep with me tonight. We need to be like one person. And he's like, such a creepscape. And so he's like, tell me the one reason why, like, you don't want to do it. And she's like pushed up against the fireplace or whatever. And she goes, Prudence. And like, that's where she gets her name. So she's able to get out of there. She told the cab to come back at midnight. So there's your whole, like, you know, she doesn't change back.
Who is also the baddie lady.
Yeah.
As
so the fun thing about this is the fairy godmother appears in all these other little roles. She's like a janitor. She's the taxi cab driver. Like there's like she's a store mannequin. Creepy. Yeah. So she kind of appears all over the place. So anyway, so she told her when she dropped her off, like, you need to order a cab. Like, I'll be here at midnight or whatever. So she gets the fuck out of there because that guy's being like a super creep. And she can't even like handle this kind of attention anyway, and leaves her shoe like Cinderella on the stairs as she's like running away. So she's like, oh no, I lost my shoe. And the taxi driver / fairy godmother's like, don't worry, like, he'll get it back to you. Yeah. So she goes home. So she did tell Salvatore that her friend is Kelly Carter, the shoe designer. So like, that's where you can find me or whatever.
Kelly Carter.
So that's kind of where they know she has a connection, and that like if they get to Kelly Carter, like they'll get to this Prudence because they don't have any other way like to contact her. Mm-hmm. So Kelly wakes up to Salvatore and his whole like entourage storming her apartment and being like, "Where's Prudence? Like, here's her dress. Like, her shoe is here. Like, where is she?" And she has to be like, is just coming to terms like that she doesn't look like herself. Like, he's talking to her like, you know, she's just Kelly Carter and not that they didn't have this like incredible romantic night dancing and stuff. So she looks herself in the mirror and is like, "Oh no!" So she can't figure out like, how did I become unhot so quick?
It's so sad. And it's like, it's not even like she looks the same. She's the same person
Looks
when
the
she's
same.
Prudence.
She's missing-
She just has gelled hair.
She's
like,
missing some LA looks like from her fucking hair. Remember that gel, the like pink
Yes.
gel?
Do I remember that gel? I think you're forgetting the time that I tried to grow my bangs out and would gel them to the side of my face as a way to grow them out. You know, it was like
What?
good look for me.
What were we gelling? Like, why did we have gel?
You just put gel in your hair when you just
did?
like put it in it and you run it through your hair and then you would like comb it and you're like, yay. It was just like
To,
a
like,
thing
stay
that
put?
like
I used
that
it
like
in ballet.
advertising thought
like,
said we
ballet
needed.
to like keep my like bun all slick and stuff.
Yeah,
I
that
remember
makes
that.
sense.
But
But
I'd, like,
why did it have like little beads in it? Like it was like pink. You know, LA looks be like
Yeah.
clear, but with like those pink beads in it.
Yeah.
I feel like those like
well, also, do
micro
you remember
beads.
when like this was like pretty revolutionary when they came out with spray gel? Because it
Oh,
used to
yeah.
just be you'd pour
Sure.
it, but then they were able to do it like change the formula a little bit that you could like spray it. Whoa, spray
It's
gel!
really, I mean, good. It's so messy. What a messy operation. Gel, please.
Oh my god, gel.
But yeah, so she comes to her with that and it's like, oh no, weird. So then like her friend comes and is like, we have to figure this out. So she's like, she like retraces her steps, just like, okay, I did this, and then she puts on like one shoe and walks to the refrigerator and the lights flicker and then she's changed again and her friend's like, oh my god, what did you do? And she's like, I opened the refrigerator and I'm like, you have like one shoe on. Hello.
I love her when her friend was like, "No, opening the refrigerator always makes people ugly."
Yeah, what does that
don't know
mean?
what that
Because you go to get food?
or like the light or something. I don't know. I was like,
Rude.
"Hey,
Yeah. But so then they figure it out. It's the shoes. So then they're like, woo, this is fun. So then they like do this whole fun thing where like, okay, I'm going to be Prudence and then demand that Kelly is my like shoe designer on like your shoot or whatever. So he has to accept because she's going to walk like if he doesn't do that. So then it's like a Mrs. Doubtfire situation, you guys, where like she has to juggle two personas. And it's pretty stressful. And then unfortunately she makes it like much more stressful for herself by agreeing to be the model, his muse or whatever, and the fashion designer, yet holds the power of being the model in shoes and then designs an outfit specifically with different shoes. She's shooting herself in the foot here. Like,
Yeah.
hello, Kelly, hello. Like, you're going to have to wear those shoes and then you're going to take your shoes off.
she's cozying up to Salvatore so much that he's like his assistant basically. So he wants like all her takes on the outfits he's putting Prudence in. So he'll always be like, "Where's Kelly? Where's Kelly?" And she's like, obviously she's Prudence.
really
so then they have
stressful.
to be like, "Oh, like makeup touch up for Prudence," and then like Kelly has to come back, and yeah, it's like wicked stressful. So
Pretty
that is-
obvious also.
yeah, yeah.
What could be happening here?
Right. So bad. So it's obviously just really taking its toll, and Kelly is finally like, okay, like okay. So the kicker is like they're at this final fashion shoot and it's like so hokey. Oh my God. So they like put Prudence in all these clothes and there's this like fantastic music playing and she's like in the streets of Paris and she's like, "Look at me." And she's making her like, she's like, "Ah, ah, ah, ah." It's like the clothes again are like so bad. But the kicker is that Salvatore wants the final outfit, which is like this coat with shoes that Kelly designed. So she can't not wear the sparkly shoes or she won't be pretty as Prudence. So she's got to decide, okay, am I going to be Prudence forever or like give it up and just be Kelly? So her friend is like, I vote Prudence. Like Prudence, like you're always going to be hot and you'll get Salvatore and then you'll also get a career because hot people get whatever they want. And Kelly's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I'm not going to throw away who I actually am. Like Prudence isn't real. Like Prudence is me with gel in my hair, but like she's not a real person. So the friend is basically like totally throws her under the bus. Like, I'd rather have you as like the hot person with no personality and sparkly earrings. So that part is really sad. I feel like definitely loses that friend. Yeah. But Kelly is true to herself and is like, you know what? I'm not going to choose. Like, I'm going to have Salvatore choose. So she goes out there and is like, hey, Prudence won't wear the shoes. So you have to decide whether it's like me or Prudence. And he does decide Prudence at first, right? And because he's like, even though he appreciates Kelly's help, like, I don't know, he just thinks of her more as like a business partner or something. I don't know.
But then, I don't know.
He changes his mind, right? Because he goes in there and decides to make Prudence wear the shoes.
And she won't do it. And she's like, these are the ugliest shoes I've ever seen in my life or something. I wouldn't. And he was like, how dare you say rude things about Kelly Carter. I was going to say Clarkson.
And then he realized like what a friend Kelly was to him and how much he did like her because she was a real person. Right. As she was a real person.
And then like somehow he turns into a real person all of a sudden.
All of a sudden he has a conscience.
And then goes to like find Kelly and like finds her on the bridge, under the bridge or whatever. And then they, you know, get together, they kiss or whatever, and then the baddie lady comes by like one last time and is like, bye, it was nice helping you, like how do I get to Bucharest or whatever, Budapest. And that's it. And we're like, okay, I guess the shoes. But did she like dump the shoes or did like the shoes like leave the magic?
She tossed them. No, she tossed them in the river. And I thought it was going to be like a Jumanji thing where like they floated to somebody else and they were like, ooh, magic shoes.
Yeah, I thought her friend was going to try them on just for kicks and like see what happens. But maybe it only works for her.
Yeah,
maybe
I think it did. Because it's like, what do you feel like the fairy godmother was just like looking for someone to help out, and it like kind of the litmus test was like who would help her with directions and stuff. Like, why did she choose to help?
Yeah, or was she like actually looking for? Because like, what are the odds that? I mean, I think maybe she was actively looking for Kelly,
right?
And like knew she would say no. Like that's why she chose that like lost baddie person, because she knew Kelly would help. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, funny movie. Love the '90s mall soundtrack, with the sparkle effects.
Yeah, so good.
It's just great, and it's a TV movie. It reminded me a lot of Pippi Longstocking.
Yes.
Just in like style and like the music and the glitter and sparkle music, and because there's like constantly music like in the background, you know, in like weird scenes where you're like, there just needs to be music here.
I know.
And it's strange. Did you spot our favorite '80s timepiece? Let's say. The giant Swatch watch.
I did. There was a Swatch watch decoration here in this one, guys, on the wall. That's two movies in a row. That's crazy.
It's one of the guys. Yeah,
I know.
No, wasn't there another? No. Wasn't there three? I think there's been like two. Like this is like the third.
No, it was
one
in She's Out of Control.
Oh, I thought it was in just one of the guys.
No, I think it was in She's Out of Control. Yeah,
sure. Let's fact check that. We'll go back. We'll listen to the tapes.
So he always asks, like, what time is it? And so she gives him, like, a little present. And I think it was a Swatch watch with a smiley face. Like,
okay. Because he's wearing it at the end. And I was like, that is not his style at all. Yeah. And I don't get it.
She gave it to him once they were, like, started becoming friends.
Yeah, this is the Swatch watch era.
I know.
Era. I think that also maybe colored contacts were, like, pretty big in the 90s or like, starting to get pretty big. Because
I don't know if you remember. I had them.
Yeah, of course. So Sweetie got colored contacts, and she chose green, which was, like, pretty fun. But because our eyes are so dark, like it was like very, very tiny, like subtle green.
Kind of looked like I had hazel eyes. But I honestly was like, I'll do blue, but I don't think blue really works when your eyes are that dark. But like they must.
I don't think anything does.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we can ever change our eyes.
I was really disappointed, but I was just like, hey,
I remember
I'll try
one
it
of the
out.
options was purple.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm sad Sweetie didn't get purple contacts. But I guess that would have scared me because I would have been like, the witches.
The witch. She's a witch.
She's a witch. But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Good memory.
So I will say, after watching this, I remember as a kid being like, not that like I thought I could be a shoe designer, but I was like, I would try to draw shoes all the time. I don't know if you know how hard it is to draw a shoe, but it's impossible. Like, you cannot get like the like dimensions correctly. It just
Did you just try tonight?
No, when I was a little girl, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna design my own shoes.
Well, maybe
just
you should try again.
Kelly. It's basically like a hot dog with like a box next to it.
I'm just saying your doodles have gotten better, so maybe you're a good shoe drawer now.
But like Prudence's shoes, or sorry, Kelly Carter's shoes were not great, guys. They were not good.
Well, I mean, she only had like 2. She had the sparkle ones and then the like coat dress ones, which were like
The coat dress ones were terrible.
Like loafers or like something.
No, it was black with like
black
the gold embroidery in those.
They just
like
were mules. They were mules.
Yeah. Why was everything a mule?
Because it was her style. I don't know. But yeah, it was not great. It wasn't.
But
great.
just in general too, and when they were doing the sketching, like when she's in the design room as like one of his assistants, and they do like the sketching, I was always like so into that and being like, wow, that's so cool. You could like sketch out. I mean, if you ever watched like Project Runway, like those designers do that too.
Even though they never show her actually drawing or sketching anything.
Yeah.
Out.
Because most designers are like artists. Like sometimes you don't think of fashion that way, but most of them like can really draw and are actually like fashion is an art, and so most of those people have that sort of brain where you can just like sketch something and it's like looks amazing. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
We had that talent. I mean, I don't at all. Like I remember I took drawing in high school, and I enjoyed it, and I was horrible at it, but it was like really fun. And this girl next to me was like amazing, and you should have just seen like what she could do in like 20 seconds. Oh my god, I was like, how does that come out of your brain into your hand?
Yeah, I don't
like why does ours look so different? Like anyone who can really really draw just blows my mind.
We have other talents, so it's fine.
Right, but people would say that about a dancer. Be like, oh my god, I have 2 left feet. Like how can that person do all these steps? You know, it's right. True. Everyone has their own talent.
Talent. Yeah. And then what were we talking about? 90s stuff. Oh, tiny hair dryers.
Yes.
So they have that like little tiny one in this. We had one in the downstairs bathroom. So we had an upstairs bathroom and a downstairs bathroom. Downstairs bathroom, our dad would take a poop in every morning. So it was like not an ideal. Like it was just the one you went to the bathroom in when you were like watching TV.
The other day. Sorry, I just want to interject. We're like, eventually Jimmy and I are going to buy a house, but not for a while, but we always like talk about what we want. And I was like, I need 2 bathrooms because one has to be the poop bathroom. Which is a great idea if you think about it.
Kind of, but it made that bathroom be like, ew. And then even though like it wouldn't be like poopy all the time, but it would just like remind us of that. But I went through like a weird phase when I would like only use that bathroom to shower. And so downstairs bathroom had that tiny little white hair dryer like in this movie. What is the I was assuming those are for like people with shorter hair.
Yes.
But we had like long hair, and I'd like use that little thing and be like, why is this taking forever?
Well, it's like ones in hotel rooms that are that size. You're like, okay, this does nothing.
Right. It's just so funny that like girls always had those in like 80s movies, or like here's this little hair dryer. Yeah. But I didn't have any. Those are my last 80s, 90s things.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot in the clothing, a lot in the decoration. But like we said, this takes place in Paris, so it's like a little bit different. You don't see as much of like the American, I feel like, kind of 90s, 80s, 90s ones.
Filmed it in Paris? They like barely. Oh, they did?
Yeah. Yep. Those are definitely streets of Paris. That's why I was like, wow, what's the budget of this movie? For the record, I was like, this is going to be some kind of amazing, wild trivia on IMDb. There was, first time ever, no trivia for this movie.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm so bummed. I was like, come on. There's got to be some like
start
hidden
writing
stuff.
it.
I know.
We could write it. Jennifer Grey is the daughter of Broadway legend Joel Grey. There's the first one.
Right.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. What did you think of that? The like creepy assistant, Mimi, the
so
redhead?
she was the other person that I remembered right away. Like when I saw her face, I was like, oh, this is why I hate redheads. Like she was so creepy.
She's so creepy.
I just remember her face. It was like burned into my brain, and I was like, ugh, and I just like hated her. She was like a bitch. And like everyone called Kelly Carter in this, like her last name. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure French people like don't do that. But it was that weird. Like even like the assistant would say it, and then someone else called her that too. And I was like, why is everyone calling her that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
It was weird.
But yeah, I remembered her for sure. For sure.
All the bit players. Yeah.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't think, I mean, and I remember the roommates a lot. Like, so you have the really ugly one, and then there's like the other one who isn't ugly, but has like the most unfortunate hairstyles. The one where she had like the two like Princess Leia buns with like the ribbons, the blue ribbons on both sides of them.
They were like Pippi Longstocking-esque. Speaking of Pippi. Yeah, she was weird. It was weird.
They were like all so weird.
So weird.
Weirdos. But yeah, other than that, not a lot more to say.
Not a lot to discuss.
I thought there would be much more to talk about, but you know, it's a solid film. I'd give it a B-, mostly on nostalgia
and like hilarity, where you're not sure if they know that this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost one of those things where I was like embarrassed for like Rob Lowe. Like,
yeah.
Does he ever think about like, whoa, remember like 1989 when I filmed that movie?
Yeah, if I was a reporter and I was interviewing him for like
Me
some
too.
other movie, I would like sabotage the whole thing and be like, okay, like straight talk, like we're only going to talk about if the shoe fits
Yeah,
right
what
now.
was that
right here, right now.
experience like?
Do you
Yeah.
remember this? Were you high the whole time and you blacked it out? Like what?
Yeah, I forgot
was
when
happening.
he like got sober. I think it was. Wait, he said he had been sober for 20-something years, so maybe it was after this then. I just listened to he was just on Armchair Expert, or not just, but like in the last couple of weeks or something, because it was since the quarantine. And he's good. He's good to talk to, that guy. A lot of energy.
Or Mark
Lot of
Maron.
energy.
I thought you said he was on what you were
Sorry,
listening to Mark
it was
Maron
Armchair
or
Expert. It was Dak Shepard.
It was Armchair? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's great. I mean, obviously, love his character in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So I'm Team Rob. Why not?
Yeah,
and
no,
he said
he's
that
great.
cocktail was weird, which is like my favorite celebrity quote of all time.
Yes.
So I love him. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Sorry,
No,
not
he's-
cocktail.
he's great.
Risky business.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, he's great. And I feel like, I don't know if I saw Wayne's World like before or after this or during the same time, but like I obviously just hate him in Wayne's World, and it would make me like, you know, he's kind of the same character here if you think about it.
Yeah. I honestly didn't remember that he was the prince until we looked up this movie recently. Mm-hmm. So maybe we didn't even make the connection.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I will say, wow, that guy has like a perfect face. I'm not attracted to him at all. He's like too pretty.
Yeah.
Like just too perfect and pretty, but his
like
face
not a
is
real
so
person.
symmetrical. It's
Yeah. You're like,
disgusting.
are you a robot?
Yeah,
He's a robot.
yeah, he's so
Bob,
beautiful.
man.
So yeah, so it's interesting, and I liked how they used Jennifer Grey in this because she's very like not, I would say, like a traditional beauty. She's a little bit more like approachable. She's very pretty, but like it's, you could have done someone like super glamorous and really ugged them up, and they kind of just.
She's not a model.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
She's probably like
which-
5 foot.
That
one.
That was the real striking thing about this, is that you're trying to think that she's going to be like this fashion muse, and she's 5 feet tall. You're like, okay,
Sure.
maybe the shoes made her tall, like really tall.
I loved the fashion show in the very beginning. It's like so awkward.
Ugh.
And it's like the girls were like walk, and then they would like look at each other, and then like one of them would be off, and then they'd be like, okay, now we kneel. And then they would like do like a kneel thing. It was weird. And then they all, instead, like traditional fashion shows, you have like one model walks down the runway, poses, goes back, and then another model comes out like right after her. But you don't have 20 models on the stage at one time doing like a model routine, and then they all run off and they all have to get changed at one time. That's why you have them come one at a time so that you can like dress them, and then you still always have somebody coming out. We've all seen Project Runway. We know how it works.
I know. I feel like I know so much.
Or America's Next Top Model. So yeah, it was pretty funny. And just as another America's Next Top Model side plot, loved that the way that he tried to find his Cinderella was basically having a bunch of go-sees with models. Just being like, she's ugly, shallow. He like looks into their eyes and he's like, "You're shallow. Get out of here." And it's just like, no.
One girl, he was like, "You're hideous." Like, oh God.
Sad.
Awful. And I feel like the girl he said had no chin, like had a chin. Her chin was fine.
Oh, I kept missing it, and then I'd be like, "Oh, I have to remember to look for her chin."
I had to rewind it.
But I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't notice. But it was pretty funny though. That bitchy model stereotype. Yeah. Love it.
I know. I know. I do love the model world. It never gets old for me.
So good. So good.
I know.
All right. Well, I guess we're out of things. But if by chance you have seen this movie, please talk to us. We want to talk to you because we're not sure if this movie is real or not.
Is this real? Did we
if
dream
we
this
both
up
made
in
it up
Land?
and now are watching it in our brain. But come find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you as always for listening. Bye.
Bye. Ray Birdist.